Alright, here we go once again with another episode of Poncho's Paint Booth. With me, that's me. And you already know what this is, but if you haven't already done so, go to the corner, like, subscribe, Multi-Murdy Media. That's the YouTube channel that you're on right now. You will get this playlist that you're watching at this moment. You will also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer playlist. That's my video games and Twitch playthroughs. And you will get the video format to my podcast, the Jankety Ass Podcast. So, get in there, check out everything. Give me some likes, give me some reviews, good ones, hopefully. Give me some stars. Give me all that stuff. Now, what we're doing today is we got another one from the Necron range. Another leader this time. Not a noble, not a cryptech, something in between. This is the Necron Warden. So he's he is very regal. So this thing is kind of like a. So in the hierarchy, there's the overlords, lords, and then there's these guys. So they're kind of like the Necron version of the lieutenants that Space Marines have, which are just sort of like a half leader. But although the difference is this guy is an actual HQ unit in the game. He fills that slot. And the idea is that you use this guy. Well, he has a big gun, first of all, for a single model. Anyways, and what his special thing does is he allows me to, or the controlling player, to target core units such as like troops and a couple other units, and they can basically run away from combat and then still turn around and blast away or jump back in if they want to. Good way to catch people off guard or just to kind of counter a lot of things. And let's go ahead and go down to my work table. So as always, we're still following the same basic Dynasty colors that I'm using. Scheme, that's the word I was looking for. So, start off with, you already know, steel gray. It's a nice bluish gray. And of course, that's going to be feet, legs, hands, arms, chest, and face. The difference, of course, being in this case, there are some more extra details, so it won't be quite as much coverage with this as it is with some of the more basic stuff. And, well, his the model is a little bit more dinged up in the and it looks like there was some stuff with the whatchamacallit, the primer kind of bunched up a bit on this elbow here, but that's not a big deal. So, which means that there's going to be even more areas that I can apply our Dragonov Nightshade to. That's just to kind of fill in the resources, the recesses, but only those few. Only those few areas, so like the ribs and some of the nicks and crannies. But for now, start off with the main color. We'll just do all this at the same time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, that's a good stopping point for now. Got our base color in, got our shade in. And so now we're going to let this guy dry off, and then we'll continue on with the next elements. So sit tight. Alright, moving along. Up next, we're going to go ahead and finish out the skin on this guy. Or whatever the fuck you would call it. It's metal, but it's not like, outside. Anyways, to do that, as you know, we'll be dry brushing Scorpion Green. It's a nice bright green, gives us a nice fake color shift effect over the blue. Well, you've already seen me do this a few times, so let's go ahead and get started. Got that stuff done. Gonna set my dry brush aside. I didn't actually want to wash it off, but whatever. That's fine. So now we get to do some of the fun stuff. Huzzah, fun stuff. And what that is going to be, that's really just going to be working on the gun here. So what we're going to do is we'll start with Dragon White, get a nice undercoat. Or base layer, I guess, and then hit the sections that I do with Hexwraith Flame. That's going to give us our green glow. Christ. And where this is going to go on the barrels of his cannon here, the power coils by the handles, and then you also notice that there's a few cables here that's leading from the back of the gun up to the base of his spine. And well, there's two smaller cables and then one big thick one, and that's the one that we're also going to give this treatment to, because the smaller ones are going to be different. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to give this a sec to dry off a bit, because the white is coming off when I'm trying to put the glow effect on, so we'll come back to this soon. Okay, so I haven't touched this guy in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and continue on with our Warden. And also another thing that I'm doing now is I turned up the focus on my camera a little bit more, so it's even easier for me to show you guys. So now you can see it's coming in real nice. We've already done, let's see what I've done. I've done the skin already, and I've done all the glowy effects on his gun and this pipe going up into his back. So what I'm going to do now is it's time to deal with the inner workings. So that's going to be his spine in the back here, and then all the joints and exposed parts in his legs and arms, and I think, and his neck and back of head. And as you can see, it is a little bit blurry down here. You don't, I mean, right up here, right in your face, this is all you're really going to see, all the important stuff anyway, so, whatever. So down here, it's not going to be as in focus, but it doesn't matter as much. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the rough iron color. That's going to go over the areas that I just mentioned. It's a nice, really dark, rusty brown sort of color. And then, now before I had normally gone over those areas with a wash, but that doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot, and it's kind of a waste of time. So what I am going to do is instead skip to the next part, which is going to be a little bit of dry brushing with our with my dry brush. That's going to be done with the true copper, and that's really only going to be over just a few parts, just to kind of bring a little bit more detail on the edges of those these stuff that I do with the rough iron. Just kind of bring a little bit more brighter detail around the edges. So I'm gonna go ahead and I love it when my interface just goes away. But get some music going, and let's go ahead and get started with this. Okay, before I move on, I'll let you give you a look at what I've done so far. So, as you can see, I've added in a little bit of a metallic tang into the exposed parts of his arms, a little bit on the back of the head there, and then also down here in the legs. Mainly in the parts that look like bones and stuff. And actually, well, I'd say that's about dry enough. For some reason, you might also notice that I don't know how this happened, but kind of like around here on his right arm, there's a bit of a gunk build up from the primer. I have no idea how that happened. It's like the only part. It's the only model that even really has this problem of my Necrons that I did at the time. But I must have just sprayed it a little bit too much in that area. But sorry, my throat's a little bit rough today. Not as much as it was before. But so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of dry brushing action. Don't need this anymore. With the true copper. It's kind of the same, just a little bit brighter. Damn. And for that, I need my little dry brush palette. And it's only going to be on a couple areas. Mostly just going to be on like the spine and the bigger parts of the arms that are already exposed. In fact, I don't really make sure this thing's nice and shook up. I'm not even going to speed through this. I'll just go ahead and... Oh, fuck. Well, it's going to be a problem because it's going to come out all at once, I think. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Just a little tiny bit. I don't want to do too much of this. Just want enough to... More than that. Come on. Probably won't even be able to really notice, which is why I don't do this as much, especially with the some of the other units which are more numerous in model count. But since this is a character, I am at least going to try. Just kind of bring a little bit of a lighter color into some of these more prominent areas. Especially the heel here and the back of the legs and all that stuff. There. So you can kind of sort of, you can't even really see that much on the back of the spine, but I did add just a little bit more color into the edges there. maybe on the legs might show up a little bit better. Yeah, so you can kind of see it's a little bit brighter. I'd say there's just a little bit more going on than there was before. So now, I think the next thing I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and tackle the gun real quick, just because it's a lot different from everything else that I've got here. Let's see, I'm still going to need the dry brush. And what I've been doing for the guns is the same as all my other canoptic units, so I kind of consider this like a clear out again. So rather than being like a carapace of his body, it's more of like a constructed material. So what I've been doing with those, as you've already seen me do with like the Silent King, whenever the dais that he's standing on. So it's black, and then what I do is I just dry brush in with electric blue, and that gives us a nice blue tinge on all of the edges all around this thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and also do that like this real quick, talk you through it. So get some blue, dry brush again, and get a little bit more support there. And just kind of bring a little bit of a blue edge all over. It's not quite as sharp as I'd hoped it would be. Here, this will give you a... There we go, that's a little bit better. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. As you can see, I got a bit of a light blue, just kind of all over the edges of that, sort of keeping in tone with the skin color, or carapace color, I guess you could say. I still haven't figured out the exact term, because technically when I'm doing a canoptic unit, this would be a carapace. But we'll get some just sort of all over the front of the gun, or the outside edge, outside side. It's kind of up in here. And then also on the self-facing parts. And that's literally it. In fact, I had more blue than I needed. Let's go ahead and put this away. Clean out some of this. A little bit of waste, but, you know, it happens. Don't need that anymore. So now what I want to do is, let's see. One thing that I haven't quite figured out exactly what I want to do yet is what to do with these weaves, these cloaks, so to speak. But I think what I'm gonna try and do like a brighter gold with these. So as you know, what I've been doing with like the shoulder pads and some of the other affectations, like the chest piece, and in this case, it's going to be his whole collar actually. And part of the hips is I've been using a I've been using one of the Turbo Dork color ranges, which I'm actually going to go ahead and bust out right now somewhere. I don't even know where the hell it is. That's not good. Oh, duh. Right in front of me. I've been using this radium color. It's kind of like a fool's gold effect, where, again, using incident angles. So whenever you see it full on, it's like this kind of goldish color. But then as it goes around and the angle is greater from your eyes to the surface, it goes from like kind of a dark green to a black until you just can't see the sides. But for the weaves, I want to do something slightly different. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a base color of demonic yellow. And this is like it's not like a super bright yellow. Here, I'll show you an example actually. So like here we have Babe Blonde. This is kind of like a pure yellow, whereas the so yeah, this is the Babe Blonde, and then the demonic yellow. It's like a darker, less saturated yellow. I guess would be the what I'm trying to say. And what I'm going to do is I'll use this yellow as a base, and then I'm going to apply a wash over it, and that's going to be, which one do I want to use? You're watching me experiment. This can be Riken Fleshblade, which is more of a yellow, more of a reddish. Actually, no, screw that. Let's go full hog. We'll get our Agressive shade out, so it's going to be like a, no, fuck. Yeah, Agrax. Should be right. That will give us a more brownish color, and then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to go in with a lighter gold that I haven't actually used yet before at the time of this recording. Although I will I should also be able to do the radium in this shot too, but we're going to start with the demonic yellow. And again, that's going to just only over this weave, or this cloak type of thing that he's got going on here. So let's do that without snapping anything off. Go ahead and get some music going again. Here we go. Okay. So this yellow takes, as you can see, it takes a little bit of a doing to really get a good coat on there. But I use that time to also get some of the radium paint, or all of the radium paint on. So the shoulders, what am I doing? Shoulders, collar are all done up with radium, and you can kind of see the angular effect that I was talking about earlier, and also with the light. And then the yellow here took several coats, as you kind of saw. And, well, I'm actually going to let it dry for a while before trying to put the wash on, because I want to make absolutely sure that the yellow is dry before I even attempt to wash, because otherwise it's just going to mix up and get all muddy and shit, and I don't want that. Same with the shoulders, especially around the collar here, because I like to add in a little bit of the black wash in there. Or actually no. I like to add in the Agrax wash to kind of fill in, especially around on the collar. Or no, I go with the Null Oil wash. To fill in kind of like around the symbols and stuff like that, to really make them stand out, which you can't see as well here. He's got like the crest in the middle of his chest and then also kind of going up around the collar. I want to get those to stand out, so I'm going to let this dry for now. And then we will come back to him soon. Soon for you. Maybe not as soon for me, but we'll see.
Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today.
Okay. Oof. Burping already. So we are coming along pretty good with this guy. There really isn't a whole hell of a lot left, but there are some things left still. So, what I did mention last time is I'm going to do some wash work, or shade work, on this guy. But first, what I want to do is actually start the base color for, the base, actually. So that's going to be field gray. And, let me think. I'm also going to go ahead and do the rock that he's standing on and the couple pipes that are around. And that is going to be done with ash gray, which is the lighter gray. So we got our medium gray and our lighter gray. And then I will go back and do the shades. But first, let's go ahead and do the grays. Alright, so I didn't need as much gray paint as I put out, so a little bit of a waste, unfortunately, but you live and learn. Let me go ahead and show you what I've done here. So as you can see, got a nice rock that he's standing on. He or she, you never know, it's Necrons or gender, whatever. And then, of course, the pipes that are hanging out underneath his ribcage, its ribcage, and the one under the gun. As opposed to the ones that I did not paint, those are cables. That's different. Which, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and I'm going to do that right now. See, do I still have... Yes. I still have my itty-bitty detail brush. And then I can at least do this without, well, here, let's just go ahead and you'll see what I'm gonna apply this to. Let's go ahead and get started. Cool. So, I used my pure red. That is our very bright red. Well, it's not the brightest, but... And we got some more details on him. Our Warden has some little eyes. Can't really see it that well. But, more importantly, also has some pipes. Including finishing off the... whatever it's called, the feed that's going into his relic blaster. Which it needs a lot because it's a big blaster. And, well, the base layer is done. So now we can go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do, actually, you know what? I'll start with this. So I'm going to do Null Oil is going to go on various parts of the, what color was this? The radium that we did on the shoulders. Get this shit out of the way. Yeah, especially kind of around this chest collar piece, or inside, so that to fill in around the like all the little symbols that are there. It's a little hard to see, but I'm going to use the Null Oil for that to kind of help him pop out, as well as there's a few dents kind of around on his shoulders as well. And then I will also use this on the cables that I did up gray, just on the body. I'm not doing the rock yet because I'm gonna wait to do that once I do the rest of the base. See, so yeah, that's gonna be the Null Oil, and then the Reichland Flesh Shade I'm gonna go ahead and do over the weave, his little half cape that he's got going on here, which I did decide to go with the Flesh Shade just because it's a little bit brighter and a little bit redder, because I'm trying to go for a brighter color here. So first, let's start off with the Null Oil and see, god damn it, and see what that looks like. Right. Give you a good look here in a second. But I got my washes in. So, got a little bit of detail there on the pipes. And even though, yeah, even though without this light here, it is a little bit shaded, that does kind of help you see what's going on. But, see a detail on the pipes. Detail around the collar standing out a little bit. There's a couple spots around the back that probably harder to see, but most important is I got this flesh shade. Is it? Yeah, it is flesh shade on the weave cloak here, and it gives it a reddish tint. But more importantly, it helps pick out the the details, or whatever you would call the engravings, I guess, the inset recesses, yada, whatever, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So helps pick those out, and then those will be there more prominently whenever I come back in and dry brush in a gold color, which is coming up next, but we're going to let this guy dry off for now, and come back in a moment. Alright guys, we're really chugging along on this dude. Also, first thing you might notice is I have a new background thing behind me. This is actual wood and paper or whatever, so that's pretty cool. Excited about that. Back to business. Let's see, what did I do before? We did up the pipes and some other bullshit. Oh yeah, applied the washes. So now we're going to go ahead and finish up a few more details, starting with, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start on these two skulls that are on his base. That's going to be done with our Drake's Tooth, which is our kind of like a bone color. Or not kind of, it is, straight up. That's going to take a couple coats, so. And then I will be dry brushing his weave cloak here. I'm going to be using bright gold, which is the brightest gold that I have. And, well, it'll be my first time doing that, so I don't actually know what this is going to look like. This is kind of a test. I'm sure I'll like it. I'm sure I'll make it look good or something. But first up, we're going to go ahead and get started with our bone color here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got those details done. As you can see, there's some white on the skulls down here underneath. Let's look at it there. That's the best focus. But this white does take a little bit longer to dry for some reason, so I'm gonna have to wait on doing anything else. And you'll see on the weave, now there's a nice, there's a bit of a metallic effect around the edges, but not too much. And we've really preserved the color that I had underneath, so the bright yellow and then the reddish shade on there, and then the gold just kind of accents the edges a little bit. But once again, I can't really do anything more with the base until these skulls dry, because I gotta put the shade on them as well. And if I try and do that now, it'll just mix up and get muddy with the white colors, so I don't want to do that yet. Actually, I do want to do it, but I shouldn't. So we'll give this a second, and I'll come back very soon. Okay. Definitely coming along pretty well with this guy. Now, I went ahead and did a couple things off camera just because, I mean, it's kind of repetitive. You already see me do the bases for the Necrons before, a few times actually. So what I went ahead and did was I added in, not this one, but I'm about to need it. I went ahead and added in the, where the fuck is it? The rough gray pumice to the base. Let me see if this helps. Yeah, so that adds that like kind of rocky texture in there. And then I also went in and applied Nuln Oil to really give it some visible texture, and also along the boulder here, which means that there's really only a couple things left to do, and then this guy's finished finally. So the first thing I'm going to do is real quick, like I'm going to dry brush over the base with ash gray. That's my very light gray. And what that's going to do is that's going to pick out all the like the raised texture details on the dirt, the rocky dirt, and then of course all the edges on the big rock that he's standing on here. And it'll look beautiful. So let's go ahead. Son of a bitch. Sometimes podcasts are a pain in the ass. Okay. What do I need? Oh yeah, a dry brush. Make sure that's actually dry. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, color's done. So now, get our last fun part, and that is going to be, well, here, I'll let you guys see up close. As you can see, the rock has some edges on there now, and the stone, the rocky texture is raised. So now all that's left is to apply some snow. For that, we got our handy dandy effects brush that I like to use. And we just start dabbing this stuff over everywhere that doesn't have any rock texture. So some parts of the base I had just left without any texture, specifically for this. Plus, I mean, putting texture over another texture would just be a waste of paint and time. So let's see, I want to make sure I get this so it doesn't really sink in so much. A lot of snow. And then between the legs, it's always a pain in the ass. But we get it. Oh, this one's gonna suck. Okay. That's enough of the big brush then. Let's use our regular brush for the rest of this so I can get in underneath the almost said cape. Well, it is a cape, actually. Fuck it. Oh, I got snow all over my hand now. There we go. So that's it. That is our Necron Warden, all finished and painted up. Let me get all my stuff cleaned up here and I'll give you a better view. Oh yeah, check that out. The Necron Warden in all its glory. It's a big ass relic gun. It's half cape. I just realized that these are basically just like advanced Necron Immortals, which will be coming up later. But for now, that's the Warden. And let's see. So yeah, once again, this has been another full episode of the Ponchos Paint Booth. This time, doing the Necron Warden, as you can see. And, of course, I have more Necrons to come. And a lot more other videos to come, so, keep watching. Once again, if you haven't done so already, go to the corner, like, subscribe to Multi-Murdy Media. That's my YouTube channel here. And also stay tuned to the end of the episodes. You'll get all the links to all my socials and my website, which has posts for all the episodes as they come out, pretty much. I think the website lags behind a little bit for some reason on that, but anyways, thank you for watching, and see you again very soon. Peace.